Do we have any public comment?
No, Chair, we do not.
Okay, thank you. We need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Okay, Beverly,
Second.
second by, what's his name?
Yeah, me.
All right, number 4, development update. A, review of and discussion on the 2024 annual tax increment reinvestment zone redevelopment update. Excuse me, Anna Rodriguez.
Okay, today we're going to be going over your FY24 annual development update. Now, just a reminder, the 2016 tri-party agreement establishes that the zone will provide 98% of its revenues to the district to implement the project plan. And biannual payments are made in March and September. And to date, the zone has provided 8.3 million to the district. Now, here's the project plan. It's just well close to 200 million.
Do we have this written somewhere? I cannot even read that.
We can give you a copy of it.
Okay, thank you.
Now, for 2024, the net taxable value was 486 million, and this is 13% for the city, higher than last year. And for the county, it was 466 million, which was 14% higher than last year.
And is that because the county is participating in a rebate? Is that it?
I could ask budget, but they do have different base values, so that
Oh,
could.
that's right. Okay, thank you. That's okay.
And then we have the Heritage Museum, which is open by appointment only. Their big events are the Hispanic Heritage and the Dia de los Muertos exhibits. So that happens in October and it lasts to the beginning of November. So in 2023, they had 600 attendees, and they also have the event at Sugarland Town Square where they had 7,500 attendees. They also host a variety of events. So they have a children's art workshop, which had close to 200 attendees. And they also bring in a lot of out-of-state visitors for these events. So they've had visitors from Mexico, Salvador, UK, and also going from California to Tennessee, Florida. So all over the states, people do come to visit for the Hispanic Heritage and the Dia de los Muertos events. And they also have other events at the museum, which is the Night of the Museum. They've also participated in events with the Fort Bend County Library and had exhibits at their events and displays and exhibits at Constellation Field.
I have a question. On the museum, do we monetize that in any way?
I don't believe we collect any revenue.
Do we still rent it out for special events to private parties?
They do still host private.
How do we, and this may be a different conversation, but how do we market that? I know I've rented it out before, but because I knew about it, how do we market that so we can monetize it?
The Heritage Museum is who offers the Heritage Foundation is who offers the rentals. I know on Visit Sugarland, I believe they market it. That's really the only way we can help support it. And do so.
It's kind of their forte.
It is, and it's their sole responsibility.
Is that Kim?
Okay, correct.
Now, the Fort Bend Children's Discovery Center has had over 104,000 visitors since October of 2023. And they also have a free admission program to help low-income families, which accounts for 20% of their visitors. So they have about 20,000 visitors using that program, and they wouldn't be able to visit the museum otherwise. They also have a free educational outreach program with Fort Bend County, and that's provided assistance to 9,700 participants in under-resourced neighborhoods in the county. And they also installed a new exhibit this past year, which was the paper playground exhibit. And they can use paper to make planes, puppets, and they have also different activities that they change out regularly so that whenever people go back and visit, they'll have a different experience with a new activity or challenge. They also implemented different workshops, which were to make slime, sugar schools, ghost bubbles, and lava lamps. Now for the Imperial Char House preservation, the site continues to be one of the city's main priorities. And the land is no longer under contract, but staff continues to work with the property owner to make sure that we can have it be ready for any opportunity that comes and make sure that the site's ready for development and make sure that we're preserving the site as well. So if you have any want to look up more information, this QR code will take you to the project page. Okay. And for the residential portion of the Imperial Historic District, we have 573 single-family lots, and 567 of those homes are completed and occupied, and there are 6 vacant lots. We also have the Overture at Imperial, which has 200 units, and they're occupied at 95%, and Imperial Lots with 254 units is occupied at 92%.
So in a multifamily like that, 100%, I mean, is 95% considered like full? Because you can't always have 100% all the time. That's done, right?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty full, especially when like rental licensing does inspections. They would typically do up to like 5%. And in my experience, that would be about like 14 apartments. And usually whenever rental conducts inspections, they might be able to do 2 because there's not very many units that are vacant.
Got it. Thank you.
Question? On the vacant lots, they are infrastructure lots, right?
Yeah, they have to like development, but they're not, in construction.
Anna, do you know how that occupancy relates to citywide? I feel like occupancy is pretty high citywide anyway.
Yeah, I think it is pretty high either way, but we could always ask if we want more information like that.
My sense from people who are in that market is that anything higher than 80% is considered really high occupancy. So the fact that I think the city runs
wow.
90+% pretty much citywide is high.
Yeah,
Last time we looked at our land inventory, I don't think any of our multifamily were less than 90%.
Yeah.
It's very rare if they are.
now for commercial development, there's been a lot of development along Highway 6 and on the south side of Imperial Boulevard. So Talliard opened in September of 2004, and they've had a huge success. They've had over 42,000 visitors, and many of those visitors are coming back and visiting again. And that information is provided by Placer AI data. And Talliard's also a very family-friendly establishment. They have pickleball, playground for the kids. They have an event space, and they have live music as well. So if you haven't stopped by, make sure that you go check it out. And there's also the office condos that are being constructed next to Talliard, and you can see them in the picture here. And there's also a retail center that's slated to go by Imperial and Crown Garden, and also on Highway 6 in Imperial, just south of Talliard, there's also condos. And McDonald's is going to be built on the very north side of the district, and there's also a coffee shop and an oil change establishment that are set to go in that area as well.
Is that in the red by the lake?
It's a little bit further up.
So, all the way up to south of Voss.
Yeah.
Right near where that McDonald's is going.
Okay.
And here we have Constellation Field. So the Space Cowboys did win the AAA National Championship. So they are the winners. And they did receive over 419,000 visitors between baseball and special events. They all had big leaguers like Greg Kessinger, Chas McCormick, and and many more that appeared at Constellation Field. And the stadium also hosted some new events this year, which was the Bregman Cares Classic, the Battle at the Ballpark, the JJ Watt Charity Baseball softball game returned, and they also had the Home Run Derby as well. And Cosmic Baseball is coming in July of 2025, so if you didn't get tickets, you should try. And baseball attendance is up 10% in this season. Okay. Now, along with becoming a AAA affiliated baseball team, the Space Cowboys have received some upgrades in 2021, and they continue to invest into the stadium and upgrade the field as needed. And this year they've upgraded the Region Bank Club sound system. They added some fans on the concourse. They purchased additional food and beverage point of sale systems and installed new field gates. They also added an entrance from Lot C on on Stadium Drive, no, Imperial Drive. And that helped get people in and out for the games as well. And they purchased additional fixtures for the holiday lights, which are going on right now. Any questions?
And I'm sorry, go ahead, you had your hand up. Point of order.
That's his call. No, I'll go ahead. So on Constellation Field, my constituents have concerns about what's going on there now, the holiday lights and the vendors that are there. Have staff got any word of this? They, just like last year, some of the vendors there with some of their dogs and some of the camping and something. Have we been okay this year with some of the people living there doing holiday lights? The carnival people, you know, is anybody here?
We haven't heard any complaints. I mean, if you're getting them, please make sure to send them away.
Taylor called me again.
Okay.
And he's concerned about the dogs and the people living there, that I guess the carnival workers. Would we just please make sure we send at least somebody from staff from the city out to make sure they are in compliance?
Yep.
I've been asked that we have policies in place and I'm pretty sure we do.
You can send the fire marshal out there again.
Thank you.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Anna, any of the updates at the field, like at Constellation Field, are those eligible for the TIRZ funds?
No, but Constellation Field does have the capital repair fund that they are eligible to use as part of their lease.
Okay.
But it's up to them whether they want to use it, or they just wanna use it to account for other portions of the lease as well.
And part of our lease agreement, when we gave them an incentive, they had to put so much money in the stadium every year. And so they have to make improvements that are fan facing every single year. So it's all part of the lease negotiation.
Anything else? Any other questions?
I have one more question. The fountain? Are we using any TIRZ funding for the fountain? Is it just IRD and fund?
It is only IRD, the HOA, and then potential SL4B. There's no TIRZ funding. It's not.
Well, TIRZ money goes 98% into the district.
Yeah, but it's restricted how they can use it.
They can't use it.
Not be used for that.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, Anna, thank you, but don't go far. Item number 5A, consideration of and action on a recommendation of the fiscal year 2024 annual report to the city council.
Oh. All right, so today we're going to be going over your 2024 annual report. Now, this report is a requirement of the Chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code, and this report is going to include the zone's values, revenues, and expenditures. And upon the board's approval, the report will be reviewed and approved by City Council, and then it will be sent to the State Comptroller as well as the taxing entities of the zone, which is Fort Bend County, Fort Bend ISD, and the Imperial Redevelopment District. Now, some of the zone basics is that the zone was created by the city in 2007 with a 5.6 million base value at a 50% participation rate. And in 2013, the county agreed to participate at 50% of the property tax value above their base value, which is 11.7 million. And this base value was established in 2012. And the Tri-Party Agreement of 2016 commits the 98% of the zone's revenues to the Imperial Redevelopment District to enact the TIRZ's project plan, and 2% of the remaining revenue is retained by the zone for administrative costs.
The city staff act as the administration for this?
Yes.
Thank you.
And in FY24, a total of 1.7 million was received in revenue, and roughly 924,000 was received from the county's incremental taxes, and 807,000 from the city, with $2,200 $264 of interest income. And in FY 24, the expenditures totaled 1.73 million. So 18,000 was spent on legal services, 14,000 was spent on administrative services, and 1.7 million was transferred to the Imperial Redevelopment District. And additionally, the zone has no prior outstanding bond indebtedness, and none was incurred in FY 24. And for the captured values, tax year 2023, which is the same as fiscal year 2024, the city's appraised value came in at 486 million with the 5.6 million base value. The total captured value is 480.7 million. And the county's appraised value came in at 466 million. So given the county's 11.7 million base value, the total captured value is 454.8 million. And as previously mentioned, the total taxes received for tax year 2023 is 1.7 million. And so since the creation of the zone in 2007, it has received approximately 8.7 million in tax increment. With that, staff recommends the board approve the recommendation to City Council for the TIRZ 3 fiscal year 2024 annual report. And as a reminder, copies of the report will be sent to the state comptroller and all the taxing entities of the zone following the council's approval.
Can you go back, please, 2 slides there? And the one before it, where the difference in the captured value and the appraised value, is that based on disputed amounts? Or
So this should be like the final roll. So it should include any changes.
so those disputes and judgments have already been done?
I believe so.
So that's finalized, okay. I was just wondering if there would be any residuals coming in, but that's it.
You can see like a little bit, but it's typically this is.
I know we're there, okay.
Yes, usually. It's pretty minimal at this point.
Questions, anyone? Any other
Can
questions?
you go back to the slide where it talks about how much has been distributed to IRD? Yeah, next. There you go. Do we know what the 1.7 has been spent on?
So.
So from the project plan, the University Boulevard extension project that was completed, but the rest of the project plan is still available to be executed.
And remember, the third amendment ties up the TIRZ increment. It can't be utilized until the historic district thresholds are met. So anything that has been utilized to this point is stuff that was done before that. So I think there's some parks bonds that it may go towards, but moving forward, it's until the historic thresholds are met, the TIRZ funding cannot be utilized.
It's just sitting there.
Anyone else questions? Hey, we need a motion.
To approve.
A motion by Ferguson. Anybody care to second it? Maybe somebody who's not on city council? Chris? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any against? Okay, so. Thank you very much, Anna. We are adjourned at 4:00.